And I'm Miles' dad, and we're here to talk to you about Disney World. Miles is 7 years old. He's been to Disney World 3 times now. We're going back in less than a week, and that'll be his 4th time going. We plan on going again in 2021, and we absolutely love it there. It's our new home away from home. Our entire family are Disney fanatics now, and Miles has been thinking about for a while about how he can share some of his thoughts about Disney World and some of the surrounding areas that have to do with Disney World with other kids. He thought it would be a good idea if he could give some input to other kids that are approximately his age. And I'm here to kind of give the parents' perspective on some of these ideas that Miles has for the kids. So, Miles's idea when it came to this was to start making top 5 lists. He thought he could make different top 5 lists based on different things when it comes to maybe food, eating, things to do around the parks, just overall fun things that have to do with Disney. So we sat down and we brainstormed, and the first one that he wanted to come up with for our very first video of Miles the Moose at Disney World is...
Top 5 scary rides at Disney World.
Yeah, these are scary rides at Disney World that a kid may find scary. At the same time, a parent of that kid may not want to have the kid ride the ride because they might feel a little bit scary for you as well. I know I was on a couple of these that he had. So we wanted to give kind of our perspective on what to expect. First things first, I'm going to post the height requirements here in the video. Take a look at them. Make sure before you go that your child is tall enough to ride these rides. Now, I know back in 2018, we thought Miles was going to be tall enough to ride Flight of Passage. He was very excited about it. We were extremely happy that he was going to get to ride it with us, and when we got up to the beginning of the line, we found out he was about ½ an inch too short, and it really made him upset that day. So make sure your child is tall enough to ride the ride before you get there. Now, I am a strong believer that if they are tall enough on Disney standards, that they will be tall enough to ride the ride, brave enough to ride the ride safety-wise. So, that being that, let's get to our list. So, top 5 scary rides at Disney World. Number 5 on the list.
Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom.
Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom. What can you tell us about Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom?
So, Flight of Passage is a really, really good ride. It's not really scary, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. What are some of the scary parts about it? I think one of them is definitely when the ride first starts, the bikes that you're sitting on, the kind of motorbikes that you're sitting on. And I'll post a video here of the motorbikes. They do kind of overhang a little bit. If you actually aren't looking at the screen and you look down, sometimes if you're up on that top row, you're up pretty high. And those motorbikes are moving a little bit forward, backwards, sideways. It can be a little bit scary if you do happen to notice your surrounding areas. Anything you want to talk about the ride?
So, the second scary part of it is it just goes just high.
Yeah, it can go very high. Parents...
It's like kind of like Soarin' at Disney.
A little bit like Soarin', you're right, where you're up a little bit high for the ride. Except with Soarin', you're kind of just sitting in a...
It's like the exact same thing, but it's just like a seat.
Yeah, Soarin', you're just sitting in a seat, whereas Flight of Passage, that seat does move forward and backwards, which can be a little bit scary. Now, I am also going to post in this video, you can see some of the safety features on the motorbike that you are sitting on. There is a back spot that will hold the person in place, as well as a couple of things that come up and hold the backs of your legs in place. I know when I sit in it, it is extremely tight and safe. You do not feel like you are going anywhere on that seat. You are locked in. Safety-wise, I think this is one of the safest rides. You are in there. Even him being so small, he was locked in really tight. Didn't wiggle at all. Felt pretty safe on the ride. But can be a little bit scary, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do you say we move on to number 4? What is number 4 on Miles' list of the top 5 scariest rides at Disney World?
Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror. Can you tell us about Tower of Terror?
Tower of Terror, it just goes up, up, up. So this is probably the only one where you can see the camera because it just goes super fast. But one of them, it stops for like 2 seconds. and it shows you the entire side of the Hollywood Studios thing. And then on the left side, you can see two little camera things.
Yep. So it starts off and you're in kind of like a fake elevator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then where does that elevator take you? All the way up to the top. And then it does a complete free fall.
Oh, and one time in 2018 when I went, I was like, just please turn it down like a little bit. And then they didn't.
That's right. That's right. He tried telling the person working the elevator to make it go a little bit less on the drops. And I think that they probably pumped it all the way up to a 12 on that one because there was some big drops. But the elevator takes you all the way up. Like he said, you get to look out over the entire park. You get to see kind of some cool things off in the distance, and the moment that you really start to get a good view of what's going on, it snaps your photo and down you go on a complete free fall. Drops you way down, picks you way back up. You're kind of going up and down quite a few times. It does lift you right up off of your seat, but you are strapped in with a nice seatbelt. You're not going to go anywhere. I'm going to post a photo of this one here just this past year, this past summer in 2020. And you can see he even convinced his grandmother to go on the ride. No fear with this one on that ride. Yes, you do lift off your seat a little bit, but you're more than safe. You're not going anywhere on this ride. This one here has got his arms up the entire time. Absolutely loving Tower of Terror. Likes the drops and can be a little bit scary, but once you get used to it, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What's your other favorite part about the Tower of Terror?
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's right outside Fantasmic, which is this one's #1 favorite show. Loves going to see Fantasmic, and I know it's down right now during the COVID time, but in the regular normal time of Disney World, it is up and running. And his favorite ride, you love to go ride it right before Fantasmic. Go hop on the Tower of Terror, get off, and go get a nice Fantasmic seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what do you say we move on to number 3 on your list? What's number 3 on your list?
Expedition Everest.
Where's Expedition Everest?
Animal Kingdom.
Yep, it's in the Asia portion of the Animal Kingdom. Expedition Everest is your first roller coaster on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a unique roller coaster because it is one that not only goes forward, but it goes where?
No, it just goes, yeah.
And then what's it do?
And then it goes, let's just go this
And
way
then
a little bit.
Yep.
And then everybody's like, oh, I think the track should have like turned around.
Yeah, so Expedition Everest starts off going forward.
It's gonna go sideways a little bit.
It starts off going forward. You make the big climb up Everest, which is really nice because if you can look off to your right-hand side, you can see a lot of the park. You can see where the old Rivers of Light used to be. You can see a good portion of Asia, but you do get to go up and you get to look around. It's not very fast at the beginning. A little bit of speed, but nothing huge. Then your first scary part comes up where it takes you and you can see that the track is broken. What's going to happen? There's nowhere else for our cart to go.
The first time I ever watched it, when I saw that broken track, I got like so scared.
Yeah, you did get scared. And I'm going to post a picture here of how scared he looked on the ride the first time he rode it. He looked like he was ready to throw up. This was one of my favorite...
I actually was almost ready to throw up.
This is one of my favorite, funniest photos from the first time we went. So you come to the broken track, and there's nowhere else to go except for backwards. Takes you backwards. This is the one part that my wife doesn't enjoy, but this one here, arms up in the air, screaming the whole time. Takes you backwards. You do some little side-to-side twirls, and then you come to a dark area where the next scary part comes up. And the big Yeti comes out in front of you, and it's a silhouette of the Yeti, and he breaks the track. So now the track has shifted again, and now you're going to go forward again. Pretty fast this time. You're going to be moving a lot. Regular roller coaster type stuff. No loops, no corkscrews, anything like that, but moves pretty quick. How'd you feel when you rode it this past year in 2020?
Really good.
Really good? So maybe parents, when they're 5 years old, not so much. When they do get to be about 6, 7, 8 years old, they're going to really like it. This one here, another photo for you. You can see how much he enjoyed it, arms up in the air. I'm not sure he put his arms down the entire time. So, again, at the younger age, even if they're tall enough, they may not enjoy it as much, but as soon as they get a little bit older, I think it's a good idea. All right. Number 2. Now we're coming to the ones that are scarier for the parents, I think, than they are for the kids. What's number 2 on your list?
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. Many of you know, parents, I don't know if you've ever rode Space Mountain before, but it's completely dark. There's a lot of jerks, there's a lot of up and downs, a lot of drops, and you really don't know where they're coming from or what's next.
I was about to turn the lights off and tell them about it.
No, we don't need to turn the lights off. They know it's a pretty dark ride. What do you got to say about Space Mountain?
All I want to say about it is it's this way, and 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 it's very dark. And you have to sit by yourself.
Yes, that is the biggest scary part as a parent when you have a small child is you are not seated next to them. You can't reach over and hold onto them. Everyone is in their own individual seat. Now there is a lap bar that comes up between your legs and then goes across your lap. It does hold you in extremely tight. I'm going to post a picture here of the first time that he rode it. You can see how terrified I was. I didn't really enjoy the ride because I'm leaning forward trying to hold on to him to make sure he went anywhere. And I tell you what, he didn't move an inch. He was in that seat really good. He highly enjoyed it. He went on it a couple more times. In fact, after that first time riding with me behind him, we felt safe enough to where we allowed his 15-year-old brother to sit behind him and just go with the two of them having a good time.
She's drinking the water.
I know, the cat's drinking the flower water. It's fine. We're just going to pay attention to the video though, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to your number 1 scary ride. And I tell you, parents, this is the scariest for me. It took years to allow this to happen. What is the scariest ride at Disney World for a kid?
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios. Tell me about Rock and Roller Coaster.
So this is the only ride at Disney World that goes loop-de-loops.
Loop-de-loops. It's got a rollover. It's got a corkscrew, which can be very scary when you have a young child who's riding. They do sit next to you, but it does have the top harness that comes down over top of you. So you can't really do anything with your arms. Your arms are kind of locked pretty in place. These restraints are very tight on the child. They do hold them in. This was his first time going this past year. And the scariest part, I think, is right at the beginning. The ride goes 0 to 57 miles an hour in 2.8 seconds. That's how the ride starts. Then it gets dark. The only lights that you see are kind of black lights. It's reimagining that you are in a limousine and you're trying to get to the concert. Everything's kind of glowing inside, but there are some corkscrews. Like I said, there's a rollover. So it can be very scary as a parent to have them go on. First time he rode on it, we were not too sure if it was something that he would do. But this is my absolute favorite photo from our last Disney vacation. This right here is this kid with his brothers and his mother riding Rock and Roller Coaster. And you can see that everyone in the party has their eyes closed in some sort of way. The camera's right at the beginning during the takeoff. Look at this one's eyes. Here's a close-up of him. Look at how absolutely in love with this ride this kid is. If you've got a child that you think is brave and you're brave enough to allow them on this ride, this is definitely the ride to go on.
Okay, so this is the part at the very end. Bob was like, Miles, and I was like, Miles?
Yep. So he was just kind of sitting there. He was in so much shock at how much he loved the ride. He just kind of sat there staring straight forward. They didn't know if he was scared to death of the ride or if he loved it, but they asked him, and he gave how many thumbs up? 2 thumbs up, love the ride. Again, if your child is old enough to ride it, the restraint is very tight on them. It can be scary. It's kind of a stepping over the cliff stage if you're a parent on a ride at Disney World, but it is a good ride for them to ride if they are brave enough to, if they're tall enough to, and parents if you're brave enough to. So, that is our top 5 list for the top 5 scariest rides at Disney. This is our very first YouTube video. We had fun making it. We hope that some of you kids out there and some of you parents get some good information from it about whether or not you want to ride the ride, or parents if you want them to ride the ride. We're going to do a few more of these, I think, this week. We are going to... What's the next one we're going to do?
Character sit-down meals.
Character sit-down meals. His top 5 favorite character sit-down meals at Disney World. Where I know that right now during COVID, the characters are distant characters, but we're talking about when they're not so distant. When
Some restaurants are closed. Some restaurants don't have characters, and some restaurants
do have the characters,
yes.
but they're distance.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about the ones during normal times when the characters do come right up to the tables and how much fun they are. That being said, want to give a shout out to Mouse Class Travel, the only place that we ever book our Disney trips through. If you are looking to make a Disney trip and want to schedule one, go ahead and do it with Mouse Class Travel. So thank you guys, and until next time,
Bye.
see you real soon.